Step back in time to the golden age of paleontology when the Wild West wasn't just about cowboys and gold, it was a battleground of science. This is the story of the Bone Wars, also known as the Great Dinosaur Rush, where ambition and rivalry unearthed some of the most incredible dinosaur discoveries in history while leaving a trail of scandal, sabotage, and drama. Our tale begins in the mid-1800s, a time when the United States was rapidly expanding westward. Amidst this growth, the field of paleontology was emerging, with scientists eager to uncover the ancient past buried beneath the American soil. This story is about two men, Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh, whose lives and ambitions couldn't have been more different. Cope, born in 1840 in Philadelphia, was a prodigy who published his first scientific paper at just 19. His family's wealth allowed him to travel and collect fossils early in his career. Marsh, on the other hand, came from humbler beginnings. Born in 1831 in Lockport, New York, Marsh used his cunning and connections, particularly with his wealthy uncle George Peabody, to fund his education at Yale and establish a paleontology program at the university. In 1864, Cope and Marsh met in Berlin, Germany. Initially, they shared a mutual respect and even collaborated on fossil excavations. However, their friendship was short-lived. Though they shared a love of fossils, their personalities clashed. Cope was impulsive and quick to publish, while Marsh was methodical and calculating. During a joint expedition to a marl pit in New Jersey, Cope introduced Marsh to the site owner. Unbeknownst to Cope, Marsh secretly made arrangements to have any future fossils sent exclusively to him, undermining Cope's work. Things went further south in 1868 when Cope made a critical mistake in reconstructing a fossil. He placed the head of Elasmosaurus on its tail, a glaring error Marsh eagerly pointed out. The embarrassment was so severe that Cope tried to buy back every copy of the journal containing the mistake. This wasn't just a blow to Cope's ego, it marked the beginning of one of the fiercest rivalries in scientific history. As the feud escalated, so did the race to uncover fossils in the rich deposits of the American West. The discovery of rich fossil beds in the Western Territories transformed this feud into a full-blown competition. Places like the Morrison Formation in Colorado and the Hell Creek Formation in Montana became hotspots for dinosaur remains. Marsh and Cope scrambled to assemble teams of fossil hunters, sending them to the rugged landscapes of Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska. Competition was fierce. Cope and Marsh's fossil hunters often worked within miles of each other, with both sides engaging in various dirty tricks. Both men deployed spies to infiltrate each other's digs, bribed landowners to secure exclusive rights, and even stooped to destroying fossils they couldn't carry away, just to prevent the other from getting them. In one instance, Marsh allegedly paid railroad workers to divert a shipment of fossils bound for Cope's laboratory. The Bone Wars weren't just fought in the field. They played out in academic journals and even in the press. Marsh used his connections at Yale to discredit Cope's findings, while Cope retaliated by publishing damning exposés. In one infamous incident, Cope accused Marsh of using government funds to fund his expeditions, a claim that led to congressional scrutiny. Despite the chaos, the Bone Wars were incredibly productive. Between them, Cope and Marsh discovered and named some of the most iconic dinosaur species we know today, such as the Triceratops, the three-horned herbivore, the Allosaurus, the apex predator of its time, the Stegosaurus with its distinctive backplates and tail spikes, the Diplodocus, one of the longest dinosaurs ever discovered, and the Brontosaurus, the iconic long-necked giant that sparked debates for over a century about its very existence. They also pioneered techniques in fossil excavation and reconstruction that are still used by paleontologists today. For example, Cope's early use of detailed anatomical drawings and Marsh's innovations in field excavation helped create the scientific frameworks for paleontology as a discipline. But all this success came at a cost. Both men spent vast sums on their expeditions, often neglecting their personal finances. By the 1890s, Cope was nearly penniless, forced to sell off his fossil collection to pay debts. Marsh wasn't much better off, losing his position at Yale and dying in 1899 in relative obscurity. The legacy of the Bone Wars is as colossal as the creatures it unearthed. Between them, Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh named and described over 136 new dinosaur species, an astonishing achievement. Their work inspired a public fascination with dinosaurs. Museums across the world, such as the American Museum of Natural History and Yale's Peabody Museum, still display the fossils uncovered during the Bone Wars. These institutions transformed paleontology from a niche scientific field into a cultural phenomenon. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. For more fascinating historical stories that are rarely talked about, subscribe to our channel.